bring it to the flow.
Silent grace, I'm never gonna be done. Lean on in. Now welcome to the kingdom.
Bring it to the flow.
Silent grace, I'm never gonna be done. Lean on in. Now welcome.
There we go. Jeez, one day. I'll get it all together. One day, guys. One day. Well, what's up? My name is TK Trinidad. You're watching Women's Wrestling Weekly. Or what? Wow, wrong title. Women's Wrestling Talk, the news edition. And I have a special guest with me. She is an amazing host. She hosted with me for Total Bellas and like some other AfterBuzz shows. She has her own show, and I forgot to ask her what show, the name of the show, but I know she's on a show. She has her own show. She's doing big things. Please welcome Leslie Colon.
Hello. I am so excited to be here. Like always, you know, it's with TK, so I feel honored.
Cheer. Actually, tell everybody what show you're doing.
My channel is called Café con Leslie, and you can find it at Leslie Colon. Well, youtube.com/Leslie Colon.
Okay. So like doing big things and avid wrestling fan. So that's why I have her on the show. Like, I mean, you know, we do talk women's wrestling talk. I know, right? So it's like you can't just be on the show and not know anything about wrestling because then you just won't qualify. So you have to at least know something about wrestling for it to qualify. And so today we're actually talking about a show that Leslie and I did do was the Total Bellas show. And it is coming back, I believe, for the last season, right?
I'm sorry. What was that?
The Total Bellas show, is it coming back for the last season?
I don't know if it's the last season, but I'm just excited for this new season. I feel like this season is going to be the biggest season.
And why do you, so here's my thing. So like I said, Leslie and I actually did Total Bellas after show together. And it was good, but then I think the last two seasons, for me, it just fell off. And to be honest, so like for people who don't know, how I got back into wrestling was one, because I have a friend who was a wrestler who I had no idea was signed to WWE. And then two, I used to watch Total Divas and then watch Total Bellas. So I really, like, they were one of the reasons why I kind of got back into wrestling. But the last two seasons have just kind of been like, so, you know, did you like the last season or what?
Honestly, last season I think was one of the better seasons. The season before that is like the whole John Cena and Nikki Bella breakup. So right. I think I don't know if I was on that one with you, but it was slow. It was really slow. And then we couldn't really get into it because it was kind of the same thing. So this past season was, Nikki and Artem, like really getting a feel for that. Right. And then the surprise pregnancies at the end. So they left us really excited for this new season. So this new season is going to be pregnancies. I think Nikki had mentioned something about like she was having complications with Mateo. So I'm just excited to see like their journey being pregnant together and everything like that. Yeah,
like the timing of that was kind of like really crazy. Like the fact that they got pregnant at the same time, like, did you guys like rent the hotel at the same time? Like it was just it's very weird. But you know, I guess whatever.
I never did the math, so you don't know. Maybe they're celebrating something.
Maybe their birthdays, I guess.
Wait, November, October.
When did they have
November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, I think so.
We just did some breaking news, folks. If you want to know when they conceived, it was right around their birthday. That's just kind of weird, but here we are. So any other things that you're looking forward to as far as Total Bellas, the show?
Aside from the pregnancies, I mean, that's only really that. I guess Nikki's engagement, when they're gonna get married, because I know when she got engaged, she wasn't really excited. Mm-hmm. She was more like scared or, oh, this is happening, and then she got pregnant. So she got engaged, and I don't think she was ready to be engaged. She got pregnant. She obviously wasn't expecting a pregnancy. So everything coming at once. And then Nikki, in the last season, she was very hesitant to move forward with Artem. So I'm interested to see how she's going to change. Also because in the previous seasons of Total Bella, she would give Brie a lot of crap. Like, oh, you're just complaining because you're pregnant, things like that. Right. But now it's like it's the other way around. She is pregnant with her. And even in one of the clips, she was like, this pregnancy is not what I thought it would be. So we've seen Nikki talk a lot. So now I'm excited to see her actually experience it and kind of take a step back and be like, all right, this isn't easy.
Yeah, but I agree. But how do you feel now? I feel a lot of reality shows are kind of going, the bigger reality shows who've been around for a long time, they're kind of going you've already seen it play out in real life. Right. So now you're gonna watch it and you're gonna see some of the behind the scenes, but then it's just kind of oh, okay, you kind of know. And if anything, I pretty much would like this concept because I know what's gonna happen in the end. Right. But it's just kind of oh, okay, I felt that way when I was actually covering the Kardashians. And at the time I was covering the Kardashians, I was working at TMZ at the time. So I knew everything. I was just kind of this is a regurgitation of everything. So I don't know. What do you feel about that reality concept?
It's a little hard because like you said, we already know obviously that they're both going to have boys. That was, I think, the main thing about this new season was that we didn't know what Brie was going to have. Right. And then also the only thing I guess that everyone will probably be waiting for is the actual birth. I think they they were in there when both of them gave birth. So I'm excited to see that because I know Nikki had a natural birth. So that would be interesting to see her versus Brie, how she had a C-section. So I know it's kind of weird, but we've seen the Kardashians give birth on reality TV.
Right, that's true.
So Nikki Bella, she's ready to give birth on reality TV.
All right, well, here we go. Another kind of, this is going to be a terrible segue. Another kind of promotion that's giving birth is actually Impact. They're actually going to be debuting their tag team, women's tag team championships, which they haven't had, I believe, correct me in the chat, if ever, but this is of more recent as far as Impact tag team champions. And this actually really speaks to female wrestlers and women wrestlers. There's more of us. There's always been a lot of us. So let's not say everybody's just kind of joined the ranks, but there's more opportunities. So, as far as that, do you think, here's a question. Do you think Impact women wrestlers, the tag team, whoever becomes tag team champions, and WWE women's tag team champions, do you think there's going to be one better than the other? And if so, why?
That's a good question. Honestly, I feel like WWE still has a lot of work to do with the women's tag team titles. So we haven't really seen them blossom. It's been more of let's just put these two girls together. Let's just put these two girls together. So if Impact can make a change and really put these girls together in the sense of their actual teams and it's not just random people coming together, then that's when it's interesting to see the difference between that.
Oh my gosh, live television. I'm why am I only seeing myself? Because I didn't add Leslie on IG Live. Thanks, folks, for joining me on IG Live. So not only are we on YouTube, we're on Facebook Live. We are on Periscope as well. We're testing out Periscope. So that's what's happening because people are looking why is she talking to herself on IG Live? This is weird. So
I was just waiting. I'm
you should have said something.
I'm looking at two cameras. I don't want to say it live. Are you gonna?
It's one of those I tell everybody who comes on the show, even Women's Wrestling Talk. It's one of those things where it's just we go with the flow. One of the lessons I really learned in broadcasting, one of the very first lessons I learned was that we all make mistakes. We're all human. And we just keep on moving. As long as you keep talking, that is the most important thing.
Well, hey, that's a word of advice for me because that happened to me once when I was going live. I froze and everyone just kind of kept going, but then I jumped back in.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. We got to the show must go on. And I think that's one of the things we definitely learned together.
Yeah. I think if you live past the age of 5, you have more than enough things to talk about within an hour. It might not be the most, groundbreaking stuff, but you have more than enough things to talk about in an hour.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's true. So Impact, I actually got to see last week's episode. Is pretty good. Thanks to somebody who's on YouTube, they gave me the tip of, and this is like another blonde moment, which is, I guess, no shade to blondes. They said you get Impact for free, and I did get Impact 3 weeks ago, and I was so excited. But then when I went back to the app on my television, like I couldn't get it, and they're like, all you have to do is sign up. Super blonde moment. So when I read that comment, then I signed up for Impact, and I actually went back and watched a lot of the episodes. So the tag team match or championship or leading up to it, I'm really excited about. Kira Hogan and Tasha Steele, who've both been on Women's Wrestling Talk Weekly. They have a really good, kind of, what's the word?
Dynamic?
Yeah. And so I'm really excited to see them. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm really, like I say, it's a new era. So not only do we have champions, we're going to have tag team champions too. So, pretty exciting. And then also Madison Rayne is joining in. She was, so for you guys who don't know, and I'm sure some of you guys do know, Madison is married to Josh Matthews. And they're actually doing commentating together. So she's been in the game for a long period of time. She's another one who also has been on the show. And so now she's actually hopping back into the ring. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. I'm really excited because every time she does, she just has an amazing storyline. Somebody who really loves the sport, dedicated herself to the sport. So we'll see what happens at Impact. So for you guys who are wondering or who are fans of great storylines and you've missed Impact when they were on Pop TV, you can actually watch them they have an app and it's free. Kudos. Why do you send me private messages?
Because I'm like, hold on.
You're going out on IG? What do you mean? My volume?
There you go. Your signal.
Oh, well, that's my crappy internet. Anybody who has Spectrum, I just can't. There's certain things I can and can't do. Spectrum, I can't control, and I pay a ridiculous amount of money for it, and it still is terrible. So, c'est la vie. So another what are you laughing at?
Just the comments. Yeah. I'm like, I miss you, TK.
Oh, thank you. So are you a fan of Lana?
Really? You're gonna ask me that question?
Yes.
You asked me that. Yes and no. I admire Lana and Total Divas.
Okay.
As a wrestler, not a fan. She has a lot of work to do still.
Okay.
And I like her story. I like the fact that she's super motivated to be a better wrestler. She wants to train. She wants to do her best, but it doesn't show on TV. Especially for a fan like me who's seen the women's evolution, who's really about the wrestling part.
Right.
And not just like look-wise, which is kind of what she still does, which there's nothing wrong with that. You can have the best of both worlds.
I don't know. Let us know.
I don't know.
If you're watching, let us know what you think of Lana. Like, I think so I have a theory. Okay. My folks have never watched
wrestling
Pop news. So I think it's kind of, this is going to be a stretch. It's like a Roman Reigns effect. So my theory is I'm really a fan of Roman Reigns now because I have some type of emotion towards him. Before, he was just a hot guy who wrestled, and I just liked him because he was hot.
Very hot guy.
Right. Now, the fact that, he's doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm a fan of the Usos. He's doing all this crazy stuff, like it's just like he's like terrible and he's mean, and it's just like now it's like hotter, but it's like I believe his character.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan of that, and I think that's with Lana as well. Like you can't take. She's gonna be beautiful. She's born beautiful, and I think now even the fact that Nia Jax's put her through the table 8 times now. You're kind of the storyline behind that is like no matter what you tell her, if you tell her no, you take her husband out of the whole promotion, she's still gonna keep on wrestling and attempting to wrestle and trying to be the best. So it's like it's endearing to an extent. Yeah, no, anybody believe in me out there?
No, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like the fact that she has a big heart. I like the fact that she works really hard. I like the fact that Rusev is on AEW. It's like they're really split. So I think now it's time for her to shine. It's just personally, I want her to grow as an in-ring performer.
Mm-hmm.
There's, she's kind of still like being ragdolled in the ring. Like she's been thrown on the table like how many times now?
8
so
times.
I'm just yeah. So I'm just like excited. I want to see more of her in regards to her in-ring talent, which everyone evolves and everyone grows, especially if you compare her to like a Sasha and Bailey match. Like it's not really, they're not on the same level.
Here's the question though, is everybody can't evolve to that level.
Right. But you can still get to, I don't know. It's just this whole evolution thing. It's more about the in-ring talent, all these historical matches. So I want to see a little bit more of that with her.
Right. No, I agree. But then I think you come to a point where, like, I think my analogy now we're talking basketball. My analogy is like there only could be one LeBron James. And then there's going to be the people surrounding LeBron James as far as the starting lineup. And then you're going to have the first couple people that are going to come off the bench. And then you're going to have the deep bench. You never see them. And I kind of feel like talent-wise, like you can work as hard as you want. There's just certain things that are like God-given that like you're not going to, with certain set of circumstances and genetics and all these little things that have played out through somebody's life, like you're not going to be LeBron James while LeBron James is there because there's only one LeBron James. And I think it's the same thing with Lana. Like I'm not, this is not like any shade to her or like anything. I know what people say about her. I just feel like she's she will get better, but I think what we're expecting of her and what some of us are hoping for probably won't happen because that's just her position.
And that's a good point. I think you're right in that sense because not everyone's going to be, I think we expect the 4 horsewomen for everyone to kind of follow their footsteps. Right. We have Charlotte, we have Becky, we have Sasha, we have Bailey. Becky is obviously pregnant, so she's not wrestling. But we still see those other wrestlers like Asuka, who's super powerful, who like Bianca Belair's been killing it ever since she came from NXT. Right. So you kind of expect that more from Lana because we've seen the behind the scenes on Total Divas of her training with one of the best, which is Natty. She's trained with TJ. She's trained with even Daniel Bryan for a ladder match. Right. So you expect that growth, which is why I think people still don't believe in her just yet. But I think seeing more of the behind the scenes will help push her. We'll see. So that leads, this long conversation leads to the fact that WWE is going to have a Chronicles of Lana. People are like, why are we going to a deep dive of Lana? WWE is going to have a Chronicles of Lana. And I actually really like the Chronicles. I think. Me too. Somebody who, like I love documentaries. And so for somebody who's into documentaries, I think the Chronicles is actually a little on the short side. Like the Uso, I always get them like mixed up. So I apologize. But Jey Uso, I think they did the last Chronicles on. I feel it was too short. Like he told a lot of information, but I think it's also because it's somebody that like I like, and I say that, and I don't know if I've said the correct name, but it's somebody I like.
And I wanted more information. Like I wanted more interaction of, the rest of the family. Like we saw a little quick thing of him and Tamina. You saw a quick thing of him talking to his brother. You saw his interaction with the kids, but I kind of wanted a little bit more. But that's because, I was really, and then also too, Bailey's too. I wanted more from her. So I feel like they could do a bit more, but it's just enough to whet the palate. And I guess they allow you to a little bit of behind the scenes stuff.
I think it's also because if you look at the chronicles, it's leading up to a big moment. So Jay was like splitting with his brother and kind of going his own way. And then with Billy, it was a similar situation as well. So it's like something, it's always like a chronicle before WrestleMania. The Sasha one was after she kind of left and nobody had an answer on why she left.
Right.
So we kind of get to see that behind the scenes. So with her, I'm excited to see again because I like her as a person and I've loved watching her on Total Divas.
Mm-hmm.
So to see that personal side of it, you can connect with her more and then people will get behind her and really push her to do bigger things inside the ring.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I finally got to see Rusev on AEW. Sorry, I'm super behind, guys, so don't get on me for that. But I kind of miss Rusev Day, and I kind of miss, when I feel like Lana could have done both. But time is everything, and we'll see what's going to happen. But I kind of miss that. But I also see Rusev, his character on AEW is just so different and so great, and you almost forget that he's Rusev. Which is
he's
lot.
Miro now.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Miro, my bad. But it speaks to a lot of like, it's like that actor that you see all the time, and every time, no matter what that actor does, you always see him as the same person, like Keanu Reeves. Like no matter what he does, it's always gonna be Keanu Reeves. I feel like sometimes I don't want to compare wrestling to acting, but to an extent it is. If you can go to a whole different promotion and be somebody totally different and still get into it, is an amazing, character or thing to have. So kudos to Miro / Rusev.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's still Rusev to me.
I know, and I like this Rusev Day. I really like that.
Something that you mentioned was that Lana could do both. Look at the way I feel like Lana was her best when she was a manager for Rusev. Mm-hmm. You believed in her so much. You can kind of compare her to Zelina Vega, who
Zelina can actually, again, no shade, but Zelina, if you allow her to do what she did in the Indies, we'd see something totally different than what we're seeing now.
Mm-hmm. And she's still a boss. Like I still believe in her now.
Who, Zelina or
Zelina? Like it doesn't matter whether she's in a manager role or if she's in ring. Like she keeps that solid character. So I feel like if Lana kind of goes back to that character where she was with Rusev, where she was super powerful and she put her foot down, she didn't care.
Yeah.
People will believe her more.
Oh, I like that. Leslie with the hot takes. I like that concept. What do you guys think in the YouTube, Facebook, IG, Periscope universe? Do you think that
we're everywhere right now?
We're everywhere. The planet. Do you think that Lana should kind of reprise her role as like the manager-esque role that she had with Rusev and apply that to wrestling? And like, would you believe it? And would it actually enhance, her wrestling ability, opposed to just being like, I think this character that she has now is like, oh, I'm just here to help and I'm like working really hard, and like I get what you're saying. It's not as believable because we've seen her be like a badass when she was a valet or when she was a manager.
Right. And I also think the way she's kind of been paired. Now she's paired with Natty, and then it was really confusing. So then you're like, Lana, what is your role? Right. Are you her manager now? Are you on your own? So it's a little confusing.
Yeah, I think I don't doubt, based on, if you do watch Total Divas, and I'm sure you know this, Leslie, I don't doubt she's throwing all types of ideas to management. Mm-hmm. So it's just whatever is the next thing that sticks. We'll see. I do.
Yeah.
I think I said this like last week. I do want to see like almost like a cross promotion. Like I want to see what Rusev and Lana do now that they're on two different promotions.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they are showcasing it on their social media, but I haven't really seen it. And I also haven't been looking for it. But if there is, please let me know. But I kind of want to see what they're doing. Just like I want to see what oh my gosh, I can't think of her name. Oh, Dean Ambrose and Renee.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
She left. And now she's gone, but now she's kind of just doing like major roles here and there, or major like events here and there. So I kind of want to see what their life is, and probably the reason why we don't see it because they don't want us to see, but just more out of curiosity.
Shout out to the people on Instagram Live, by the way. J-Lo, George.
Oh, hey y'all! Like I can like how my whole setup is, camera, light, computer, mic. It's like a whole situation going on right now, and I could barely see the comments. That's why you see me do this, because I'm trying to see over my other light, and clearly this light is not doing anything on IG Live. But if you go on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, this lighting is great. So if you want to just hop on that,
on YouTube too, guys.
Yeah, and YouTube. Yeah. So you could do all that. I mean, if you care. And shout out to all my Actor Buzz compadres. But another one. Have you been watching? What do you like at compadres? I was thinking about
I love your Spanish word because I'm here.
I mean, I dip in between. So for you guys who don't know, I'm from Canada, and I spoke French up until I didn't speak French. I took French lessons up until 10th grade, and then I switched over to Spanish, and then I obviously moved to California, and then I actually lived in Mexico. So I dabble in between both languages, and I just throw random words in sentences just because. And then I have Leslie laughing at me. But have you watched NXT lately?
I've seen a little bit of it. Shotzi is amazing. Yes. I love her character. I just love the freedom that they have in NXT. Mm-hmm. I really just wish we could have that on the main roster. I don't understand why there's still that like division where women have so much freedom in NXT still, while on the main roster, they're kind of have their hands tied. So that's the thing with like, I'm worried that Bianca's character is going to go down, or like they're going to change it to where they ruin her. Ember Moon went back to NXT too. Yeah. So it's really confusing. Like, wow, even Finn Balor, like the fact that these big wrestlers are going to go back to NXT, that's how like NXT sometimes is even doing better than the main like shows.
Well, I think from what I've heard, Triple H is the one obviously who runs NXT, and I think he is more of the new school mindset opposed to Raw and SmackDown, which is still managed by the old guard. And some people don't want to change certain things. Like that's why I think we don't, when it comes to WWE and particularly like female wrestlers and their storylines, it's very, very old school to somewhere like a AEW and an Impact. Like Impact has been doing intergender matches forever. And if you go back and watch Gail Kim's interview on like second or third episode of Women's Wrestling Weekly, she talked about that. Like, Impact has done so much, and it just seems like WWE just kind of puts their toe in, test the water, and they're like, oh, well, we'll wait. And, it's just, I do feel, I agree. NXT is just, there's a lot more freedom there.
Oh yeah, for sure. And even like something small like the women's tag team championships, where we were just talking about earlier, where they brought out the championships, but they never really did anything with them. There was really no competition. They only created the competition for pay-per-views. Right. So one of the things we used to talk about a lot was having a secondary title, like a US title, like an intercontinental title, where those like wrestlers who are kind of not there yet but can still hold the title, it would be valuable. So I think that's one of the things where WWE tries to push for change, but they don't really execute it well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely agree. There's more than enough women in the roster on all three brands. Well, I take that back. There's more than enough women to debut a second kind of tier belt,
Yeah.
but I don't know if they'll be able to do it on all the rosters. It's kind of the same thing with the tag team,
Oh
where
yeah.
they'll have them kind of go through like NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, and kind of go in between those. And it's like we have enough women, but I don't know if you have enough women on each brand. That would be a good question. I know one of you guys, when you guys watch this back,
Yeah, that's a good question.
because you don't see everybody. Like I talk about it every single week. We haven't seen Trinity in forever. Like there's people that we haven't seen that we know are doing fine as far as we know. So it's just kind of like it would really be interesting, and I'm sure maybe if you go to WWE.com, it might be there. But really be interesting to see like what the women's roster looks like on each platform. Next NXT, Raw, and SmackDown, and see if there's enough women to like carry another title or carry a tag team. And I think there is more than enough women wrestlers in general that you can put them on, but time and storylines and et cetera, et cetera. So speaking of storylines, is there any favorite storyline that you have right now?
Of course, I have a favorite storyline: Sasha versus Bailey. My perspective of women's wrestling completely changed when I watched NXT Takeover Brooklyn years ago when Bailey was still there and Sasha had moved up.
Right.
I admire their in-ring talent and what they did with those matches in NXT, that it would make me so emotional just watching them because it was empowering.
Right.
So I love the fact that they were able to come back together and have another tag team title run. But honestly, I feel like they bring out the best in each other when they're going against one another. So their Hell in the Cell match was amazing.
Right.
I love the fact that they can still have these like matches and kill it out there. There was no limits in regards to like the Hell in a Cell match, and it was just so good. The fact that Sasha still comes up with these little tricks to, for example, she transitioned into the bank statement completely different, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. So it just, those little things excite me, and honestly, I forget until I watch these like big pay-per-views and matches like how much wrestling means to me, especially like women's wrestling, because they make such a change.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes it gets a little bit old. Like we're not friends anymore. We're not friends anymore. But when you have this last run, and we've been calling for it forever, as far as Bailey kind of turning heel, this last run was definitely way more believable, and you were definitely way more invested than the last couple of runs.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely excited about that.
What about you?
I'm like thinking right now. Of course, I like the Roman Reigns. I kind of am feeling the guys storyline and the female storylines at the moment. Although for Impact, I did like they had the marriage of, oh my gosh, you guys are gonna hate me. They had the marriage of Rosemary and the guy that she married, and at the end, spoiler alert, he ends up like the lights shut down and he's dead. And so I'm really curious now. It's kind of like almost like it's like a homage to like a Who Shot JR type thing, or then they did a play on that on The Simpsons when the little baby on The Simpsons, like she shot the old guy. Like it's like an old school play, but they spun on it and put it in wrestling. So I'm really interested and curious. So like that really piqued my interest on Impact as far as that. And if you did watch Impact, I am always going to be a fan of Taya and Johnny's wedding, like a year and a half ago. So they had another wedding. I think Impact does the best weddings. Like they have this whole. So in general, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with that, and really kind of dive into Impact and see everything else that's going on now that I've discovered that you can just put in your email address and create a password and you can watch it. FYI. And let's see. Of course, I'm interested. The whole Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah.
So like, what's going to happen with that? And then is like, what happens when Jimmy comes back? Like, are they like, is he now bowing down to Roman too? And like, are they going to come together and then fight the forces of Roman? Like, there's so many different angles that I feel like they can explore. So I'm definitely interested in that. And you guys know I'm a huge fan.
Me too.
Oh, what I didn't like, and I hope they don't do this again, was oh my gosh, Titus O'Neil was on Raw this week, and I forgot their name. It's with MVP.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about. Their
crew.
Yeah.
Oh, what is it?
Sorry,
what is it called?
I want to say Hurt Business.
Yes, Hurt Business. Yes.
I like their storyline. I didn't like what they did to Titus. It was kind of weird. I feel like you never see Titus anymore, and then when you do see him, he's just getting beat up and then like tossed to the side, which I'm like not a fan of, especially when he does so much charity work. But that's also like yeah.
Well, he became more of like a face of the company where he's more like motivational and represents WWE in a very professional way.
Exactly.
So, why beat him up? The fact that when they go back to the ring, they just treat him like crap.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, then why bring him back at all?
Exactly.
Although I think he would be a good addition to the Hurt Business prior to when they beat him up. I don't think it's going to happen now. So I'm a fan of that storyline. I think Bianca's making a run.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that.
She did mention she wanted to go against Sasha Banks, so that's going to be an amazing storyline.
That's going to be a good storyline, and it's going to be believable because it's like the best versus the boss. So there's going to be some stuff going on there. So that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah. I'm definitely interested when the Street Profits went up to Big E and they're trying to invite him to like the whatever where all the like kind of champions hang out, and they were trying to get dirt from him to get about New Day. Like that whole exchange was really great. So I'm interested to see, the New Day Street Profits kind of battle. So yeah, like I think there's a lot of storylines that I'm like watching. As far as, and this is bad. Now I really can't think of too many female storylines.
Well, something that someone just mentioned was that the Bellatons are going to go after the title, but I'm a little sad the fact that Billie Kay and Peyton aren't together anymore, because that would have been
going to get back together.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't like them as single competitors.
Yeah, I don't, and then I don't even understand like I don't think. Yeah, well, even like with New Day, like they're still considered New Day, but they're on two different brands.
Yeah.
Like, I hope that doesn't last too long. Like I hope they get back together in some way. Like I understand where they're trying to have Big E kind of go for a push as a singles competitor, but he can still do that and still be part of like New Day on the same.
Right, like how Kofi did it. He had his WrestleMania moment, and then they were still the New Day. They just celebrated together.
Exactly. So, and then the fact when they did the whole, not breakup, but they kind of said, it's our last time together, on the same platform, and there's some tear from Xavier. So I didn't really like that. So I hope they get back together. But there's a lot of good story, like for the amount of crap that we in the WWE universe give WWE, there are some really great storylines that are happening. And, what I do wish that they would have is almost like a chronicles of the writers and how they develop the storyline. It's kind of, I guess you don't want to show that because it kind of breaks the whole thing of, wrestling and, really kind of getting into it. But I would pay to see that. I think
that's a good one.
Yeah. I think because as a creative, like I can no longer watch TV the same way because I know what kind of goes on, and I can't listen to radio the same way because I know kind of what goes on behind the scenes. I would like to see the behind the scenes of how these storylines are developed and who's doing the writing.
Yeah.
And, how you come up with certain ideas, and then how certain ideas don't make it to the, to the to the forefront. For instance, this is not even wrestling. I was watching Borat, the new one that just came out. And so if we watch the old one, I actually had to go back and watch the old one. And the reason I went back to watch the old one is because Lunel, who is Borat's wife at the end of the movie, she actually bought some of my products. And for you guys who don't know, I have like a cocoa butter line, centerin.co, if you want to check it out. But she actually got some of our products. And I follow her on Instagram. And she had mentioned that she got paid to be in the second movie, but she was cut out. So you don't see her at all. He doesn't make mention of her or anything. Spoiler alert. So it's really interesting because I would have never thought, if I watched the movie again, I would have never thought about, oh yeah, like what happened to that? Like he made mention that like his wife left and his kids are grown and like, you know, somebody else took over whatever the house. But like what happened to, so is, you know, that's kind of bringing it back to wrestling. That's kind of what I want to like know, like kind of like does Vince walk in and say, I want to see the storyline of this person? And like now you're like, you know, scrambling away at like writing something, or are they really like
yeah,
and they're just throwing ideas against the wall? I don't know. I would really want to see that.
Yeah. So. You're so smart, TK. That's a great theory.
I mean, I don't know about smart, but you know, I like to throw things all over the place.
Yeah.
So tell people again what shows you have, what time, where they can find you.
Okay, well, as TK mentioned in the beginning, but for you guys on Instagram, you didn't get to hear that. We did work together at AfterBuzz, so we did a lot of after shows together. And one of the after shows was Total Bellas. So go to youtube.com/Leslie Cologne, or you can find the link here on my Instagram. And I'm actually going to do a Café con Leslie Total Bellas edition where I'm going to be talking about the new season of Total Bellas, which is going to be huge. So make sure you check it out. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I just started this new channel, so support. And yeah, I also have, for my Spanish-speaking people, I do have a recent interview with a regional Mexican artist. His name is William Garza, if you want to check it out. So yeah, I have a couple interviews. You see some AfterBuzz familiar faces to just tell our side of the story. Normally, we're the ones interviewing people, but what about us? So I wanted to create that platform for everyone to tell their own story. And TK, I know you're a private person, but I would love to have you and for you to tell your story.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Well, congratulations. For you folks who don't know, like Leslie, like started working with us, and I guess in particular, like Leslie kind of came into my universe when she was just starting out. So she was like a little baby, and now she has all these shows, and I love seeing that. And yes, I will do your show. I don't want you to think that like, you know, skipping over. Yes, I will do your show. But yeah, I just love seeing former AfterBuzzers and just people in general that I've like met that, you know, they're going off and doing their own things. And there's another shout out to her. I'm sure she doesn't watch the show because she doesn't watch wrestling, but she's a former AfterBuzzer. She actually created her own show called I think Faith and Fame, Brittany Hugh Hill, and her show just got signed to Netflix. So yeah, I'm really so like amazed when, you know, shows and people go off and do different things, and you know, and we're in this era where we can talk in different rooms in different parts of the states and all over the world, and you know, still have an exciting platform. So thank you for coming on Women's Wrestling Talk News Edition.
Of course, thank you for having me. And I just want to say something real quick. I was watching one of the first shows I ever did, and I want to thank you because if it wasn't for you or Monique, I wouldn't have said a word in the whole season of the Total Divas After Show because I would get so nervous. I didn't have any confidence, but you guys believed in me so much. And you pushing me because I always get scared. So guys, don't let your fears get the best of you. I was scared to start my own YouTube channel, and now I have it. So I just appreciate every single person who kind of pushed me and was like, Leslie, you can do it. And you were one of them. So thank you, TK.
Oh, you're welcome. Cheers. Well, eventually we'll get all of this together. If you're watching like Instagram at the very beginning, I'm talking to myself for the first 15 minutes, but we'll get it all together. So, if you got to the end, then essentially what you're watching the end is what happened at the beginning, so you didn't really miss much. But thank you guys so much for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the news edition. It's not going to be me every week, just the FYI. They're like, man, I can't stand this girl. Bring on Emily or Sarah. We're switching every week, so it's going to be a different person every week. And we come on every Thursdays at 4 p.m. And then Women's Wrestling Talk, our interviews, come on every Tuesday at 4. And I should know who's coming on next week, but I never do. This is just a running theme. So, check our Instagram, our social media at Women's WW Talk and WW Talk Pod to find out who's coming on the show next week. And it's a lot of exciting stuff. I'm really, really excited about this particular show. And then, if you follow me, I have so many other things going on. But I appreciate you guys for joining us. Please leave those comments. I do read all the comments on YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. Even the negative ones, I see you. But I appreciate the love as well. Thank you guys so much. My name is TK, and I'm like pointing down on Instagram Live and then pointing to the side on YouTube. That's Leslie. And thank you guys for joining us. Till next time. Ciao.
Bye.
So we're going to do a double thing. So we're stopping here. Bye. And then we're stopping here. Boom. One day I'll get it together.
Cool. Peace out, YouTube.